Welcome back, everybody. RT here, episode 90 on President's Day or Family Day or whatever day it is your area is celebrating. If anything, I don't think it's an international holiday. So for those of you who are not on a break, managing to find some time to hang out with us on this fine Monday morning, thank you. Welcome. And we are front running Kucoin Charts today. We have a bit of an overlap in our schedule since he pivoted from Sundays and we moved back to 3. Everybody loves the 3 o'clock slot. So we'll be getting over here in about an hour. We're going to get through a whole bunch of different coins today. I've got a list here in my hand. Some nice requests coming in earlier today. Going to go over the market in general. And then I did a big scan on Kucoin. And I want to talk a bit about why. Why Kucoin, RT? Well, I'll explain in a minute. Let's get over to the charts. Check the chats. We got Jonesy, Paul Young Jr., and James. Welcome back, guys. Good to have you. Just got to say, my TA planned out for my short on 88, and I saw it moving and got greedy. Lowered it by 2 cents and hit my original target. Rip. Yeah, Paul Young Jr., that is the life of a trader. And if you can journal it, just like you did here in the chat, it's going to help you avoid that kind of shit next time. I had an interesting weekend myself. Classic sort of Sunday night dump. Which is fine. I mean, it's in a bull market. It's something you should look forward to, right? Because the rest of the time you spend just looking around and everything's up and you're like, you know me, on Friday, I was like, I can't buy this. I can't buy that. So I did do a little bit of shopping yesterday. My general thing was like, big wedge breakdown on Bitcoin. Let's get over there. Are we on the chart here, John? Can't tell if I'm looking live. There we go. So here's kind of been my view for Bitcoin, right? Coming in to these higher highs, really lazy, barely getting it, then shaking out, barely getting it, shaking out. So really just squeezing all the breakout traders, which forms a rising wedge. And with sort of lowering volume and lowering momentum, it's a great bear setup, whether you're in a bull market or a bear market or anything. It's just, technically speaking, it was. And we did get the wedge breakdown overnight. It's what we were watching for here in the lab. And right back into it today. So with this kind of breakdown on the higher time frame, or the 1 hour, 4 hour, I thought, I have a hard time just buying phantom wicks on the alts there if I'm expecting, the real decision is kind of here today. And since we're kind of in a long weekend, we're going into the Tuesday open, which is sort of like a Monday open. CME closes early. It's a bit of a weird time. So there's some reason to expect potential pivot, volatility overnight tonight. We're in a short reload zone after a rising wedge breakdown. All of that said, that's just, purely on a technical level. I can't really think of a good narrative to just drive a bunch of bearish action in the market. I don't even think it would be that bearish, so in that sense, we don't really need a narrative to take us back down to 42. That's just like breaking out from the old highs, retesting that level, pump chaser zone, pretty standard stuff. Of course, at that time, it would be a bear market, rah! And then we could consolidate there. And that would really fit with the Bitcoin dominance, generally just being shitty and rolling over, which is great for altcoins. It's really what we want to see. If Bitcoin did that, it might give a chance for Ethereum to break up here, which is what I expect anyways. So those are kind of a few things I'm watching now. Obviously, right here is a tricky spot to make any big decisions. It's a very indecisive situation here. We've got, the one thing that's decisive is that we're in a bull market. Let's just start there, right? Just got a really bullish weekly close on the altcoin market cap all-time high. I expect more upside period this year. So I guess the question is like, how am I trying to finesse this market? Where am I finding value? What setups do I see? I got stopped out on, I think 2 or 3 of my bags on the weekend, in profit. Just didn't want to give it all back if we were going to have a proper little pullback here on the Bitcoin pair. YFI, I had bought down on this retest here. I think I stopped out around 44, stopped out part of it around 42.8, which we're really pretty much right back to today. I bought back half of that here. So I did a little bit, but I didn't buy back all that I had taken off this weekend. So like going into Friday, of course, we talked about ALGO. That was the one I was going to make an example out of for myself as a trader. Really sticking to, is this the one? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this is the one. This is the chart. But right after the stream, true to my word, I sold most of the rest of my algo bag around 161. And, that's kind of why I just saw, like, look, we got this vertical stuff going on. And even in a year-long bear market, this vertical move is the end, right? Vertical, just like with capitulation dumps, tends to mark the end of a move for now. And so whether or not I believe it's going to go higher this year, this month, next week, I have to pay myself at these vertical levels, even though, as we know, they can just go vertical even further. But it's generally just a pocket of space where I'm paying myself. And then when we get real shitty and boring, maybe consolidating somewhere, and everyone's like, well, that's shitty, it's bear market, buy back. And we can, like we talked about this on Friday, we can have little mini bear moments within a bull. So I'm pretty happy with myself in a disciplined sense, because I wanted more algo up here. Obviously, everyone, wish I had more. But I sold 3/4 of it. I've got a free bag now, a few thousand algo just sitting. I'm going to try to move it over to stake them and just literally forget that, write it off. It's off the port. Took a little profit on top of that. So it's a trade done and a bag held. And so that kind of thinking is what got me into a fairly healthy cash position through the weekend. And then, of course, on Sunday afternoon, I actually was, that's Sunday, yeah, yesterday, off the charts. I was on the charts for a bit on Sunday afternoon. And I had a lot of stops kind of at these lows for like in profit stops that I just thought, you know what, fuck it. If we're going to have a little shitty weekend, I don't really want to give a whole bunch back. I want to have even more cash. And so things like YFI, I think ONT, same kind of thing, ONT right here, broke the lows. So yeah, that stop loss, and it's already back above my, whatever. Profited on the trade. Got shaken out, whatever you want to call it, but made some money. Now I'm in a position to find the next one. What's the other one? Oh, MATIC. Now, MATIC I played a little differently. Been pretty aggressive with this one. I did take a stop, I think, around 11.5, somewhere in this area. And then last night I actually did buy some MATIC through this stink. And I'll show you where, and I'll show you why. And you guys know I've talked about this before. When you get these big dumps, it's not about like just buying because it's down. That's one way to do it. You can average in. But I like to buy the retest of those lows. So last night, I was actually watching a movie. I was like, really? This fucking shit's happening. I'm trying to spend some time with the family. And I don't want to be that guy who's like running back to the screens after spending hours on them all day, right when you're having time with the family. So I just reluctantly stuck around. And it was around, what is this, 11:30? Yeah, local time, 10:30. So it was right here that I got back to my screens late last night. And this is the perfect setup, big nasty dump, little bounce, and then get me into these retests of the lows. Now, I didn't get, a nice fat leverage long or a bunch of MATIC bull tokens on FTX or, maybe what I wanted had I been sitting here all night watching, being more prepared. But I did buy back a little more than my stop loss had hit up here. And obviously MATIC today is looking super sweet, so I feel great about that. That's it. That's kind of how I navigated this volatility. Didn't nail it perfectly, didn't get wrecked by it. Standard sort of lukewarm trading, little high, little low. I'm happy with that. Moving along through the market one day at a time. Perfection is not really the goal as much as stability, or whatever you want to call it, consistency, I guess you could say. So we'll see what happens here. I fully expect Bitcoin to just rip faces. I really do. But I'm so long on crypto for such a large portion of my net worth that I cannot just blindly keep aping in until I see resolution of this level. So all things considered, full disclosure, and then we're going to get into the coin requests today. Full disclosure, my portfolio is down to about 11% cash. It was up as high as 24%. I deployed about half that back in today, late last night on MATIC and a few things, and then today. So, 13% Bitcoin, 13% ID. We're going to talk about ID today. I'm super long on that thing. It's just looking great. I've still got a good chunk of YOP at about 12%. 7% ETH, and then all the way down, just Wi-Fi, Rook, MATIC, DAOmaker, Serum, Nord Finance, Ocean Protocol, stuff like that. So that's it. That's sort of how my weekend went. Let's check the chat. How did you guys do? One wallet just accumulated a whole fuckload of BTC via whale map. Yeah, I heard about that. I think I saw Bitcoin Jack talking about that. And that's the thing, right? It was, James says it was just a Binance internal transaction. Okay. Shout out to Hxro Labs for getting me into the Cosmos project. Nice, Andre Vega. Appreciate that. Glad that you got in. Yeah. That one had a really nice bounce. You can almost kind of tell, like, that's the one thing I think if I was to journal, like, here's a mistake I made and I want to do better next time. When it's time of like euphoric sort of shit, like we saw into the weekend where everything just seems parabolic, that's a really good time to create a short list of the things you want to buy a dip on the most. Last night, it was Sunday. I was sitting around covered in blood, looking around like, holy shit, there's 20% drops on everything. And I was in a bit of a state of like, what do I want to buy? I've got so many coins, so many names. I've got the ones I'm holding. I've got ones I've traded and exited, and perhaps this is a great time to get them back. And, so I looked at DOT, KSM, Atom, and, Serum. Solana did not give me the dip that I wanted. I was looking for a little juicier dip. It just barely moved at all. This thing is so strong. We talked about that last week. I've still got my free bag, but my God, I wanted to add at this 382. Maybe a little wishful thinking. But again, we're not out of the woods on some of these yet. Everything just looks super bullish, but it's really hard if you don't buy on these crazy dips and then you're FOMOing back in the next day, especially if you got stopped through here or sold through here. Buying back the first bounce day after is often a recipe for chopping yourself up. So if it's possible, I'd like to buy some of these retests. Like I showed you on MATIC, that kind of stuff happens on the higher time frames too. Where maybe overnight we do get into this, and then that's the retest of the lows. So that's something I'll be watching for sure. Market may not be friendly enough to just give a second chance to old RT, but got to trade my plan. And for Solana in this case, that's what I got. Now, Serum is a cruel mistress today. I actually tweeted out last night that this bullish retest had failed, right? Because we got the daily close here. I was like, oh, cool, bullish retest. And then there was just this fat red candle here. I was like, okay, well, I guess the bullish retest seems to have failed. And I'm going to look at the pump chaser zone. You can see here, I actually have an alert there to buy some Serum. And I missed it by about 9 cents. It's kind of the way it is when you're playing levels really tight. You tend to get some really nice snipes, but on the other side, you get some tight misses. So really, really strong daily candle on Serum. To get a dip like that below all-time high support SR level and then close back above, I didn't get my fill, sure, but if we close up here today, I'm actually pretty comfortable picking some up even here. To be honest, I'll do that because that, if anything, is just adding to my theory, which is that Serum's bullish as fuck and it's heading into price discovery and it's going to catch even more of this vertical move that the exchange tokens, DEX tokens, Solana ecosystem kind of stuff. So keeping a very close eye on Serum, probably the top of my list through this for resolutions. And so anyways, yeah, keeping a list like that, guys, really helpful. The ONT USD weekly looks like it broke out. Yep. Yeah, a little bit. Well, this is probably one that'll feel like got away. Like, look at that. Look at that dip. And I don't have it offhand. I could check where my stop was, but it was somewhere here in profit. Like, I made a nice trade. I mean, God, like the way things have been going this year, like I think the P&L on that trade with ONT this past week was like the size of my portfolio starting 2020. Like, growth has been phenomenal. Compounding, rotating. So I'm happy with it. It's relatively small, but then I just have to reflect back. I'm like, man, where I was a year ago, some of these like little gains that I feel like, okay, not a big win, but I'll take it. And I think back, I'm like, holy shit, that was like the size of my portfolio last year. So if that's not proof is in the pudding for consistency in the market, stick to it, guys. 1 year at a time. Think big. That's what I'm doing anyways. So yeah, dip pump chaser zone. This is the kind of chart I look at today. I'm like, where was I? Where was I last night? I was here, but I was watching a movie, and then I got back here, and this one bounced really hard, really well, off a really sweet level. So, we'll see. We're going to see how it resolves. This is basically a bullish or a bearish throwback for today. I have a feeling this stuff is just super bullish, and it's going to keep running, which is why I have an incredible amount of exposure. So let's talk about this list of requests. I'll start with the ones that I have charts on already because they might go a little quicker. As you guys know, if you follow me on Twitter, I got a little birdie on my shoulder last week, reached out and said, hey, check out HTR. Really cool blockchain project. Part DAG. We talked about it on stream last week. I think we talked about it like at a pretty decent level too. I think, I only picked it up at 32 cents, like kind of like on a breakout almost. And we were on stream last week. I believe it was like 34 cents at the time. So there was a double in there for everybody. If it fits your plan, if you're looking at that saying, oh, I can find a way to take a little risk on that. I don't like the idea of like, I say something and then we all copy trade it. But obviously that's, it's some people are going to do that. And it does feel good when people reach out and they're like, hey, great idea on HTR. I traded it and now, it worked out. Love that stuff. So if you did happen to trade it, congrats, because it hit a double today. And so what I actually did last week is I moved some money over to Kucoin just for this trade. And so that's now back in my account, right? So just say, put in $500, turn it into 1,000, take $500 back, and now have $500 worth of HTR just sitting there for the year. And I took that bag that I took back from it, my initial, and I rolled it into this one, which looks great. An old favorite of mine from back in the day, an ICO from 2017, which is still kicking. Now, if you guys have been watching the stream at all, you know that I love this setup right now, right? Where you're just coming off the lows, total sadness, nothing going on, big volume breakouts, reclaiming a key previous SR level, and then retesting it. That is the setup that has just been feeding the family for the last month and a half. And somebody keeps messaging me incessantly. I just want to turn that off. Okay. Live on YouTube at the moment. Chat later. Hint, hint. Okay, come on. Join us on stream, Colleen. All right, so bullish retest. I mean, this thing just has everything you need. Everything you need in a setup. So, yeah, I rotated into that. I've still got my HTR, so I'm just kind of planting seeds on Kucoin, and I'm just going to keep that amount there and see how it ages through the year. I mean, if this thing bangs out to a double, which is conveniently placed right up in this cluster of objectives, then I will then have 2 free positions on Kucoin, and I'll take that initial and put it into another one that I find. So the thing I want to talk about today as we go through these lists of requests, we've got Lit, LTO, Reef, and NFTX, ID, DAG, ELF, VET, a couple other ones. A lot of good requests came in on Twitter. One of the things I want to talk about today, we talked about liquidity cycles, right? Cycling from the majors to the mid caps to the micros. And it got me thinking on the weekend, and then today as I scanned through Kucoin, that there's also kind of a liquidity cycle through exchanges, right? Binance perhaps being the major, Kucoin perhaps being the mid cap, BitMax, some others maybe being the micros, right? Whatever ones you want to, however you want to rank that. But I went through Binance, and a lot of their coins are just mooned, doing really well. Great. That makes sense. That's where the majority of the money is, and that's where they would start. And then you get that hunger, right? All these charts are saturated. They're all parabolic. Ooh, what's over here on this exchange? And so I'm kind of theorizing about a possible liquidity shift, and not even shift like move away from Binance as much as just arrive at Kucoin. And so we're seeing a lot of these charts that look like the Binance charts did maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago. And I get lazy. You guys might get this too, where you get a little lazy with your money. It's like, I don't want to transfer it to that exchange. It's like, it's a few clicks, but it feels like it's a mission. But I finally took the plunge, and then I went down a whole bunch of Kucoin charts today, and I can share with you guys some that I found. I don't know if I cleaned this list up before I did, but there's a lot of these, right? And I don't know anything about these coins, but you can see here A lot of this kind of stuff happening right now. And I would bet that in the next few weeks, we're going to see a lot of these catch up to some of the crazy pumps we're seeing over on Binance. These are all Bitcoin pairs, by the way. So I'm actually going to move a little Bitcoin over there. So for my cash balance, I'm sticking to the HTR bag and rolled it into DRGN and all that. I want to keep that kind of as its own separate little play, like a little, I don't know, trial setup strategy. But I am going to move some Bitcoin over there and do something similar because, like, I mean, look at that. Bolt. What about Bolt? I don't know. CHR. Similar. Not quite as strong, but pretty good. Darrow. Doesn't see the volume that I like. ELA looks pretty good. I remember thinking this one looks decent, right? Rising volume, breakout, retest. I don't know if I have to put this box on each time. You guys can probably already see that too, right? So this kind of stuff is starting to happen over on Kucoin. Don't know what the hell this one is. It looks pretty ugly. Some of these are real stinkers as far as like idea quality, but uptick in volume. Price hasn't moved yet. Who knows? FOTA. Go. I think this actually trades on Binance. Might be a little late, but you can see here. A little SR flip, touch and go. How far does it go? I don't know. Probably a node on the VPVR for a next top. It's almost a double. So, you guys can see on YouTube. I'll kind of pause here for a sec if you wanted to screen grab. I don't know if I'll go through this whole list. I want to get to your guys' requests. But these are just some ideas, scanning down Kucoin. They don't all have some stamp of approval from me, but as far as like ideas I want to look into more, these ones all kind of fit the bill. And I guess the one that looks strongest to me, just because it's got tons of liquidity and it's on Binance, is VET. I think versus USD is probably up in the sky by now, but versus Bitcoin, just did a retest. Do I love grabbing it here 17% above where it just tagged? No. Would I? Maybe. Probably. Let's be honest. I'd probably grab that. And I'd like to, long downtrend. Boom, 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 breakthrough, retest. If I'm a little late to this trade, I still find that I can make it profitable. And in some market states, I would be like, oh, sorry, I missed it. I'll go to the other one. But we're in such a hot market right now that I got to strike while the iron's hot. And if my lifestyle or what I do makes me miss one or two entries perfectly, I'm not going to miss what I expect could be a prolonged uptrend just because of a few pips. I just have to size down now. This wick low has to be my stop loss. If I'm entering here, that's a 24% drawdown. I can't take the size I might have had I had my bid working last night, which is fine. It's just a slower, steadier approach. Bitcoin, there's a lot of these guys. So start thinking outside the box if you're on Binance thinking like everything is pumped already. Because versus Bitcoin, a lot of these pairs look like they're just waking up. ZIL, I don't know. Just looks really strong. Don't know why it's on this list. It's not quite the setup. Okay. Does that make sense? Following? All right. ONT. Yeah. ONT does look really good. 88.6. Hi, guys. ID. Let's go. Yep. Can you give a bit of an explanation of how you decide your stop loss for times like these, i.e. in the money? Yeah. So, Jordan, for me, I was zoomed in a little bit on the weekend. Let's just use Ocean for an example. And Ocean's been causing me some trouble. I'm probably just doing it to myself here, but pretty sizable position. And that sometimes can lead to the mistake of over managing a trade where I'm like, well, this just looks so bloody good that I'm going to load up. Man, that's great. It worked out. But then prior to hitting where I initially am thinking profit, I'm seeing volatility and I'm seeing huge swings I don't really like, given that it's already up in a pretty sweet profit. Tiny position, I wouldn't even look at this for like 3 weeks, and that's probably how you're supposed to trade. In fact, it is. But in this particular market state, I have sized up a few positions, and then as a result, I get a little touchy when we get into things like that falling wedge on Bitcoin and dying volume and all these little things that I'm probably just overanalyzing. So in this case, on the weekend, I'm sitting there, I'm looking through my positions. I'm getting the bearish itch on Friday night, on Monday, on Saturday morning. And as it turns out, it was correct in that there was a little dump coming, but perhaps it doesn't mean that it's a full reversal. But if you look at this chart, there's really, there's nothing that says we're out of the woods yet. I hate to say it, guys, but it's bounce day for sure. Is it continuation day? Not yet, right? We've just got lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. And yes, that's the hourly. On the daily, it's just looking super bullish. And that's based what my trade was based on. But so your question is, how do I decide where my stop losses are? Well, whenever I got that itch, which was Saturday morning, right around here actually, we just had this little dump. And I thought, you know what? I don't really want to lose this low. If that was a nice little shakeout into the pump chaser zone, cool. We're bouncing back up. That's cool. Like if we do that, whatever, I'm in. But if we're going to just keep going, I'm less excited about this chart right now. And I'm happy to reload later at a better time. And so in that case, I decided this would be a low that I would protect. And so I got stopped here, watched it go up a bit, then it dumped. I felt super genius. And we're actually right back to where I got out. But, when it comes to playing from a position of strength, I locked in profit, a decent amount of it. And it is trending down on the shorter time frames. So we'll get to see, right now I can get back in it right where I left it. Peace of mind is important, kind of reset the portfolio a little bit, get a better view of where I'm at. And it's a new trade now. I don't get to get back into my old trade. That trade is closed in profit. Now I have to decide if there's a setup here for a new one. So over tradey sometimes, but in a high volatile market where I'm taking some of the plays that I'm taking, like I'll be honest, guys, in a lot of ways I'm going for it. Not like going for broke. When I get wrecked, it's like 3% drawdown to my portfolio, and I consider that a big hit. I don't like that, but that's me going for it. I usually was doing like half and 1% risks for the longest time. But in the last month or so, I'm sizing up. Risking 3% sometimes. And then in this case, that's what I did. So yeah, had to manage it like that. We're in the pump chaser zone. Tagged the 618 on a lot of charts, right into that our reload zone. So we'll see. Hope that answers your question. I'm gonna move quicker through the questions, guys. Sometimes I get too full on my explanations. Hope that helps, Jordan. No, it was an exchange wallet. Sushi was also, what a move. Yeah, let's check out Sushi. OIN. Okay, gonna add a few of these. OIN. Sushi. And the producer actually found a way to pin like a short list for me on the chat. So John, if you want to get to that, that'd be great. Dusk looking good. Yep. I saw Dusk was moving. Missed that one. Sad face. Loaded up fat bag on SRM dip yesterday. Nice, Jonesy. Way to be on the ball. That thing bounced so beautifully. Missed my dip by about 9 cents, but I think I'm going to get in if we close bullish today because I see skyward. And I don't mind it. Crypto Cotter. Hello. Good to see you. Where are we at? Getting up on the chat here, everybody. Hedgic together. Yeah, we're going to talk about Hedgic. I'll write it down. We're going to fly through these requests here in a minute. Got lots of good coins I want to look at that you guys brought to my attention. Hope you bought things. Shield TVK to you like a month ago. Man, I hope you got some. I didn't pick any TVK up. But if it did really well since then, cheers, bro, because that's the shit I like to hear about. Soul on Kucoin. Yep, let's take a look at that. Soul TVK. Whale Sniper alert went off today for vet. Okay, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like the thing I want to be on side with. Stops on 6 is cool. Stops on Uniswap, not as comfy. Yeah, stops on Uniswap, not as cool. And then 1 inch. Okay, guys, we're going to cap it there. That's a lot of requests. We're going to have a lot to unpack here, and I'm going to have to try to get through it without my usual long-winded analysis. Because as much as I like those kind, I think a little more is better on the numbers because it's such a hot market. So we're going to start with lit. And I'm just starting with all USD pairs. If you guys have ideas about a Bitcoin pair, let me know. I am feeling like I'm going to get into some more Bitcoin trading right now because one of the things I did through this volatility. Okay, that's the last thing. That's the last thing I wanted to mention today, guys. When I'm uncertain here, and there's some dips, maybe some expected volatility, if I am going to move back from like the heavy cash position, I say heavy, I think it was like 23%, but it felt like a heavy cash position. When I'm going to put that back into the market and I'm not certain yet, I feel like, ooh, what a breakdown. Is there going to be more? Is it a, short RLZ and then continue? I can reduce my risk of being right or wrong on that decision by re-entering the market in things like Ethereum and Bitcoin. They're not going to be as volatile as some of the altcoins I was in. So that's the last thing I'm going to say. So I do have a decent Bitcoin bag. Again, one of the things, I think my Bitcoin stopped out at this consolidation because I thought at the very least it's going to test this low. I was like, yeah, I'll just get out of that. It dumped right through. I actually bought back at about break even. I think $100 more expensive. I was like, get me back in. So that's just a wash basically. So I've got a decent little Bitcoin bag now, still on some cash. And don't tell anyone, guys, but I actually opened a little short here. I know we're not supposed to short bull markets, but on the futures account, I thought I can buy back some Bitcoin here more comfortably if I do a little short up in this reload zone, which I really hope just gets blasted through. It's a little hedge. It's like 0.25% portfolio risk. But it's like something like this. It actually just filled the start of the stream here. Where's my stop? Oh, don't come running for my stops. It's up at 49K, which is terrible. I think there's a decent chance that even if we are going to break down from here, we'll still get up here first. So not my favorite setup, but an RLZ within an RLZ, little tight one here. I took it. We'll see. If we break down from this, I can move that stop basically to break even right away. And then I'll just have something to sit on for a few days if we do have a shitty open to the week. And if we don't, well, balls to the walls long on crypto. So happy ending. So yeah, don't tell anyone. You're not supposed to short the bull, RT, but this is the first one I've entered in a while. And I feel good about it. I'm going to be honest. I feel kind of good. Not good that it'll win, but good that I'm being responsible and putting a little money on both sides of the market right now in moments of uncertainty. Lit is looking lit. Somebody requested this on Twitter for today's stream. It's just looking strong. Nice fat uptrend. Breakout from here, retest, same kind of stuff we've been watching. Not a big increase in volume through these highs, which is what you want to see on a strong uptrend move. You want to see more and more buyers flowing in. Price simply moving up on low volume means that it doesn't have as strong support. So right here, really high volume breakout, consolidation, continue. This one, probably want to see a little more volume come in, quick and dirty on the charts. I do like Library, Mr. P. Anka. I'll have you know, I traded it earlier this year, and I have a free position. Sorry to see that you think I'm ignoring it. I think Library Credits is dope. Yeah, let's see one more drawdown. Yeah, Paul Young Jr., why not? One more squeeze. Wouldn't that be savage? All these people. Yeah, I did find it a little interesting to see like a lot of, well, shall we say, big accounts that were like, aha, that was the dip. You missed it, bitch. And they're probably right. There's a pretty good chance, like, okay, cool. But nothing technically that said that was it. I mean, everything I'm looking at just says we lost this wedge and now we're retesting it. Short reload zone, bearish divergence, falling volume. Like, purely based on that. I know it gets better engagement to say things like, I bought the dip and you're a sucker. But I didn't really see it yet. I don't see the certainty that we're back just yet. And that may be me getting left behind, but whatever. Bought some spot, shorted some futures. We'll see who wins. So yeah, that's my take on lit, quick and dirty. Let's go see LTO. Shout out to Sjord. He, one of the principals over at TRI. He messaged me sometime last year. I think it was somewhere around here, like a deep and dirty spot. We talked about LTO. And, in true RT fashion, I didn't trade it. So there's been a lot of movement here on the Bitcoin pair, a lot of chop. I think this is the big trade that everyone over there caught, which was really nice to see. Little W, little breakout retest, and there's your free position. But I guess now it's probably more appropriate to look at the USD pair for some stuff because it is up there. LTO's crushing, parabolic. This kind of dump in the midst of that and then continue is very possible. It's well out of a buy zone for me for reasons that we all know by now. But, these kinds of things coming back into these sort of levels down here, things I can fuck with. And that's probably why I'm sort of like half, thinking like it would be very convenient for me if the market would clean its goddamn self up. I'm long, but I'd like to be longer from a more steady position from some of the profits I've taken. I'd like to rotate into some lows, which might just be wishful thinking, or maybe I'm a genius. We'll find out. But Yeah, LTO looks good. Looks really good. It's just in a big uptrend. But, you know, I guess if I was in on this thing early, if I had been trading through this and I'm just like euphoric right now, I'm like, holy shit, I wouldn't be sitting here then go look at the market cap and say, I'm going to be rich. It's going to $1. I would definitely, if nothing else, as a rule, just learn to pay myself during some of these crazier, more vertical moves. Even though this one's not fully vertical yet, it does look like it could have something left in the tank. But if I hadn't paid myself by now and I was up multiple X, I'm breaking some of my own rules. Namely, getting the hell out with my shirt on someday. Right? You can't buy dips if you don't sell rips. So, partials. One of the things I'm really getting better at is taking partials. You know, I used to not like it because I had a big dirty portfolio filled with all these partial positions. And I also, you know, I like to have a clean one. So Bitcoin, ETH, cash, and then a select size, you know, bigger bags of alts that I can focus on. And when you take a bunch of partials, you end up with these little dusty bags. But solution, created a little Delta portfolio, a second one called free positions, and I don't look at it much, and it sits there on my app. And then my portfolio that's trading looks clean, and all those free positions just kind of sit off to the side. So that was my solution to that. So I have them now. Reef generally looks bullish, you know, rising volume. Nice little breakout. Somebody actually mentioned it to me right here last week, but it was already up to here, and I just like, oh shit. Then I got a really nice continuation, and now just kind of cooling off, chopping around. Again, until I get a clear answer from this, I have a hard time rushing into some of these less clear situations right here. You know, really clean retap, cool. Chase it a little bit late in this little zone, cool. Up here, a little less cool for me, given my current exposure. But, you know, there's a lot to be said here for this kind of stuff, right? It was pumping. Now it's in the pump chaser zone. Risk to this pivot. There's a trade there. And there's probably a lot of good trades there. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm sitting on my hands. Like I said, I've got probably overexposed altcoins right now. But as far as like what cash position I have left, I'm just giving it a little bit of breathing room. And mostly going to be focusing on Bitcoin pairs. So I'm already in crypto long. I'm like, Bitcoin, I'm going to switch over here and try this. NFTX, oh my God, this thing. I got it up here already. This thing is crushing. Ledger status was on here. I think it was January 20th. Right here. It was like $30. And he said, you know, NFTs sound cool. What are you looking at? I'm looking at NFTX. And so I picked some up on his name just to be like, you know what? I like you. I like your style. I like your analysis. I'm going to get some NFTX. And I got my free position here. So I sold, you know, half my NFTX, much smaller position than perhaps I would have liked, given what the hell we're looking at right now. But I just looked at that little bag of NFTX I have left, and it is worth a lot more. So this thing, you know, parabolic, it's moving, it's vertical, catching up even higher, you know, today, really nice. Not the volume that you want to see yet. So this could be running out of steam right here, but who knows? Again, same old kind of thing, out of my buy zone, really nice volume on the highs. Then it made another high with less volume, which is always a bit of a warning sign for me. But, you know, I'm not even thinking about selling that other free position. That's why it's free. Because I can ride it down right into this kind of thing, get into this little reload zone, whatever. Or I can just ride it up, not really looking at it. If it blasts again here, I will take another half of it out just to pay myself again because, you know, then I can rotate that. But for now, NFTX just looks so good, super strong. Out of the buy, maybe a little early to sell, who knows. But again, if I hadn't paid myself anything yet, I would certainly be doing it up here. ID, oh, this is the one I was really looking forward to today. Let's go look at ID, my baby, my largest altcoin bag right now. More so just because of the FTX connection, the new launch, ID. These guys are doing it apparently better than has been done before. Identity, digital identity, it's a big thing. Not very saturated space right now. A lot of guys talked about it in 2017, CVC, you know, Civic. TKY, if I'm not mistaken, had one based in China, but this is the first I've heard pop up recently, and it's just looking strong. So loaded. Didn't add any this weekend, just kind of been watching. But we cracked $1.23 earlier today, and she's just kind of hanging out. A little bit of weakness here. Like if I have to be the technical over analyst, came up, made a new high without a whole lot of excitement from buyers. If we break here, again, once you get these launches, sometimes what you get is like the first few weeks, you get this kind of hype launch, and then you really go in and, test people's resolve, and then it just gets boring, right? How many times do we see this kind of shit? And then it's like, whoa, that could happen. For sure that could happen. That would be a little painful for me. I got a pretty sizable bag. But might be something coming up this week for these guys. I have a feeling. And they're not listed on FTX, despite being kind of partnered with them. So I feel like there's a little listing hype in there. Not that FTX listings lead to huge, pumps. Often actually it comes out with a perp and it's a little bit of a sell-off as the certain people rush to hedge what they otherwise couldn't have hedged for lockups or whatever. So we may see that, but who knows? When that listing comes, if there's price action that's not bullish, I may pay myself because I'm already up a double on this thing. I'm holding out for a little more. I haven't sold any yet. But yeah, ID looks strong despite these little 1 hour candles here. High hopes for that one. I think a couple bucks at least, few bucks. Gonna go look at DAG. Heard of this one before. I don't think it's on there. We're going to go here. I feel like it's a Kucoin bag, but we'll see. Yeah, Constellation. Is it Constellation or King DAG? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to go with Constellation. I like DAG as a model for a blockchain. These DAG models. I enjoy them. I think they're fast. Super fast, kind of like the IOTA, HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph. Those ones, different kind of lattice matrix as like a technical design to a blockchain. So I'm kind of bullish on DAG projects as a rule. I don't know any that have worked out just yet to the fullest extent, but I'm fascinated by the concept. So this one, see a nice little SR level breaking out new highs, lots of volume coming in. Nothing to worry about here. Slow and steady upwards. Don't know that I have much else on that one other than, look, this looks a little bit like the Serum thing, right? Previous all-time highs, big bundle of support here. Breaks out of it, comes in, tests it, even breaks below, but closes bullish above. So when I see this chart, I instantly think of Serum, which is the one I am long on, the one I do want to add to. Probably should do it during this stream. Seems to be running off without me. But anything below $4, I'm comfortable with on Serum. Would have loved 315. But that's what I see on DAG. DAG makes me think of Serum. And I'm super bullish on Serum. And I do have a bag. It's just a third the size that it was prior to my 415 stop loss getting hit. So, got to keep that in mind. Was it 415? Whatever this little breakdown was, 410. There was a little consolidation in there on the weekend. I thought, oh, God, this bag's huge. I just want to cut a bit of it while we get this retest, see what happens. So if I can get back in even at break even there, like whatever. Missed an opportunity, stayed flat. It's all good. HDR, OIN. Now we're into the live requests. OIN, finance. Oh, oof. See what I see, guys? I don't know what this is, but these are the charts I like. Love when we get a chart on stream that's not fully parabolic yet. It's up. It's up already. It's up a lot. No, I lied. It's 240% up in the last month. But on the whole, doesn't look nearly as scary as those other ones as far as like coming in on the buy side. Perhaps I need to look over here. See if I can get a little USD chart for consistency's sake. Oof. Yeah, I figured that would be a little higher up because ETH is up and it's up versus ETH. But hey, if this thing's going to outperform Ethereum, I have some Ethereum. in my Uniswap wallet. Why not just swap a bit for this and trade that other chart? What is OIN Finance? That's what I need to know next. 935, tiny market cap, 5 mil. Can I get it to 10? Get a free position? Maybe. 6.75 circulating out of 100, so pretty low float. Probably want to keep that in mind. Figure out what that bloody inflation rate is. Bringing DeFi functions to altcoins. Okay. I find it, I'm actually pretty hard pressed to find huge differences between all these dot finances. So whoever requested this, maybe you could give us a shout. What do you see in OIN Finance that's different? And it doesn't have to have something different. You know, this chart just looks really bullish. And if I had to be a guesser, I'd say the price on this chart will be higher sometime next week. Exactly how to get in and how to measure that and all that, it's up to the trader to decide. But all other things considered, this is the kind of chart that I'm into. Although, again, I feel a little bit late to this one. This one, I don't feel as late. I feel like I am late, but like, look, at this point, you know, punt in a little bit, whatever. You know, throw a half ETH in there, throw a 1 ETH. Like maybe that's what I'm thinking. For me, guys, it's not financial advice. I'm thinking out loud. You know, maybe I just put an ETH in here, turns into 2, take my ETH back. Now I got this like little dusty position here for whatever the hell this turns into. That's what I can do fairly easily around this time of the market, instead of like, you know, trying to size up on some of these things and be like, I need the perfect entry because I'm trying to go in with so much size. It's like, well, you know what? You can also just take punts on charts that you just figure, honestly, it's probably going to be up. So I'm not going to miss it, but I just can't afford to take a huge position because I missed the bottom. Sushi just looks good, you know, doing the sushi thing. Big dump. Big dump. Let's go see it on a real chart. Sushi Binance. Yeah. Wow. Damn, boys. Like that's that bull market shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I should say. I know we got some ladies in here. You are more than welcome to join. Encouraged, if not anything else. Get loud in the chat. Say hi. Don't be shy. $12, $13. So again, sushi is a weird one for me. Like, there's been so many people that are so bullish on it, and they should be because it's been doing so well. I don't know why I never got that into it. Maybe it's because I had this really old bias against it because of this big washout or the food token thing or some of that old drama. Definitely, like, you know, maybe one of those ones I slept on, weirdly. But having a list for dump days, you know, I actually did trade sushi with some size here from like when they announced the Wi-Fi partnership here. I think it was like 157. I just sold it at like 225. Like, it was a big position. I was like, oh, all my cash on Binance? Sure, I'll just ape it all into friggin' sushi because they announced Wi-Fi at 2 a.m. Woke up the next day. I was like, oh, God, it's up. I'm going to sell it. I had no visions for a greater future with sushi, but, you know, this is one of the ones like Adam that just dumped and it's already at new highs. That actually gives me a lot of hope for the general outcome to this sort of thing. You know, as far as like, what is the market telling us internally? Well, on Friday, altcoins were already rolling over. Saturday morning, even more so. Into the Sunday, right? They were almost front running that Bitcoin dump. And now a lot of them are pushing to new highs just hours after that big rollover, while Bitcoin's still struggling to regain its level. Ooh. Okay. Bitcoin coming off here a little bit on the 5-minute. Shouldn't even watch the 5-minute. But it is coming off here out of my short reload zone. So, you know, if we can get a proper little move down here, I can move to break even pretty quickly on this stop loss. Again, not cheering for this to happen. I'm actually way more profitable probably if this just goes the other way. But there's something to be said for getting the odd snipey short scalp in during a bull market, feeling sneaky. Love trading against the trend because I like pain. But for the most part, I have not been trading any spot or any future stuff because these altcoins have just been so bloody thing. Okay, Hedgic. Whoever's been waiting on Hedgic, you've been so patient. Let's do it. Next on the list. Let's take a look at Hedgic. We talked about this one last week. I forget exactly where it was. Probably just right here. Or was it here? I think it was here. January 23rd. No, that's a daily. Never mind. Full of shit. Let's go take a look back a bit. On the 4 hour, yeah. I mean, this thing's just climbing the stairs. It just looks good. It's not unhealthy. You know, it's not like some crazy vertical move. It's just kind of slowly moving up. Old highs, new lows. Oh, old highs. We lost it. Bears read us now. But, you know, depending on your time frame, let's go to the 12 hour. Finding the 12 to be a nice little balance on here for candle body closes. Because when you get all these wicks, right? Because remember, Uniswap is a market buy environment. So you get a lot of wicks. So even more so, I like to work with candle body closes. You can see you get cleaner, consistent levels with the closes versus the wicks. And then here, obviously gives us a much cleaner picture on the 12 hour with the candle close. So yeah, just climbing stairs here on Hxro looks pretty good. This is a place, you know, on an uptrend where I'm buying higher lows, buying higher lows. If I have to sell, waiting for a higher high and training myself to actually take profit when it looks like it's so good. But not just arbitrarily selling every pump. I mean, that's how you get out of a great position early. I think selling on doubles, if that's my plan, or selling at chaos PRZs, if that's what I'm watching, you know, having a reason is usually the best, because then you can be consistent, you can measure, and you can move on. There we go. Ecomienda, appreciating the Hxro. Yo, is your neighbor back at it? No, dude, he's a shut-in. Glad. Thank you for asking. I haven't seen him. And I confirm the guy who lives like attached to my house, the next door neighbor, he's like, oh yeah, that dude's a psycho. If he ever gives you a problem, let me know. Like, we'll sort him out. But apparently he's just harassing everyone in the neighborhood, so whatever. But no, he's out of jail and he's back at home. I haven't seen him. I don't expect to be honest. And frankly, I'm not too worried about him. It's just like a nuisance, if anything. Apparently he yells at people out his window that they're racist. That's his thing. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Yo, Mickey, good to have you, brother. How do you handle the idea of expanding a wedge? Yeah, like the wedge on BTC. Yeah, okay. Well, let's take a look at that. Moon over Mintzcast, a really good question. Line chart works nice, not going to lie. Yeah, line, yes, okay. So for those of you who are like, okay, candle body highs, wicks, Matt. Is it Matt? Matt, yes. Matt just gave a really good idea. If you guys ever noticed that a line chart is actually just a chart that tracks the candle body closes, right? So the high here is the same as the candle high on a candle chart. It basically just eliminates the wicks. So that's a really good point, Matt. And I do look at the line charts once in a while, usually on higher time frames, like weeklies and dailies. But look at this, right? If you guys want, you can get a line chart, eliminate some of that wick noise, because Uniswap is a market buy environment. Get a lot of this craziness, especially when the bots are there. Tell you a funny story. Poor guy. You get distracted easily, but here's a funny story. Where is it? ID. This is tragic. This is so frustrating. This is why Uniswap sucks. So this here, you're like, oh man, huge buyer just stepped in. Nope. You know what it was? I went and checked. It was a poor little guy trying to buy 3 Ethereum worth at 58 cents. And some dick-headed bot came by and bought 160 ETH in front of him, pushed him up here. He bought 3 ETH worth at $1.10, and then that shitty little bot sold 160 ETH right on his head. And he probably made like half an ETH. But that guy got screwed. And that is so frustrating. So if you guys want to know the secret, try to do it maybe without doxing my account. No, you know what? I'm going to do it here. I can take a little screen cap. You guys want to know what I do to avoid those bots? If you haven't known this already, so I think it's pretty well known by now, but just say you haven't. Let me show you. Somebody shared this with me. I've saved a lot of money. Here is your settings on Uniswap. And I don't know what the natural is, like the normal one. If you really need into something and it's a hot buy and you want to market and you don't care, you got to up your slippage tolerance. But if you want to not get slipped by that guy, but like that guy did, you've got to lower slippage tolerance to 0.1%. The downside to this is you will get a failed transaction every single time a slip bot does jump in front of you. So give you an example, because today I'm trying to buy Nord. I'm fucking with these bots. And we should talk about that, why I'm buying Nord. But look at this. Look at you see these gold things? That's the bots. And I'll see it. So for example, right here, I tried to buy some and then my transaction failed and I see these two buys come in. Dickheaded bots. I'm trying to buy 160. By the time they were done, I was buying 12. But my transaction's not here because it failed, because I had that slippage tolerance on, right? So it's annoying. I spent $15, but I didn't get slipped for like 400 or whatever it was going to be, right? And then I just chill because I'm like, screw these bots. They're going to have to sell now because my order didn't come in behind them. So sure enough, like 10 minutes later, their transactions come in as sells. And if you look closely, they actually lost money. They spent 401 ETH and they only got 382 back. So screw you, bots. So if you ever want to battle the bots, put your slippage on 0.10. It makes it harder to get in, but things like Nord, I'm just kind of sliding into. Oh, look at that. It's moving up. Nice. I did manage to pick some up in all this, but screw those bots. Maybe not as much as I wanted. But I added to my bag on Nord today. We should probably just talk briefly about that. I think it's going to have a big week. I added down here through this. Remember last week we talked about this was my wick. I just aped in, got slipped. Did not win the bots that day. Because sometimes I up my slippage to like 0.5% for something. And then I forget to return it. And so the next day, like at 3 a.m., I'm like, I'm just going to ape into this. And then that's my wick. That's me. Yay. And so I actually sold some up here on the weekend because I was in a free position now. And then little birdie on my shoulder said, maybe we got some cool shit going on for Nord. So I got back in, basically a break even for that sell. So we'll see. I actually wanted to add more, but if this thing's going to move without me today, that's just the way it's going to be. I'm not buying that high. NOS. Trash. Okay, no, let's move on to something better. Like the conversation that Moon over Minsk brought up, the idea of expanding wedges. So for that, I will go to a fresh chart. Let's say Coinbase, Bitcoin, 4 hour. Let's see. Wedge. So, I mean, this was a pretty clear wedge, and it doesn't mean it's bearish. We've seen a few of them break up. In fact, the last wedge that I tweeted, because I don't really trade off them that much. You guys know, like SR flips, fibs, mostly what I like, but I'll look at the wedge because it's information that I can use, but I don't have like a setup with them really. Even with this one, right? I'm not trading it because it retested the wedge. I'm trading it because it's like a short reload zone. There's my zone, right? The wedge is more just like coding. So his question is like, what are my thoughts on adjusting these things? And that's kind of why I don't trade them, because there's your wedge and it's like, ooh, no, now we had a breakdown. So, here's my new wedge. And if I'm doing candle body highs, I guess, which is usually what I would do for these, so that I'm measuring off these, they're just, I don't know, they're not clean enough for me to trade all the time. And then you can adjust them all day to keep fitting and keep fitting and keep fitting. Whereas like a fib is a fib is a fib is a fib, right? This pivot and that pivot, those are levels that are going to be there no matter what it does in between. So I find fibs much more attractive for that reason. But yeah, I mean, this could be our new one, but then what about this little pivot low, right? Which one's more valid? I don't know. Gets confusing. So can't decide. That's my thoughts on that Moon over Minsk. I don't change it around too much. Yeah, Matt, that guy must have had max slippage. Definitely want to lower it down. That platform that I was looking at is Dex Tools. You should definitely take a look at dextools.io. It is like the go-to for Uniswap. You can see the trades. It kind of turns it into like a centralized exchange book almost, as far as like reading trades. If you want to get real greasy, you can click on an address and then you can look down and it'll pop up anyone that address is buying. They'll all stick out like this. So you can track people. You can name them. ONX broke out today, I noticed. Another one I've got an old free bag in, just sitting there. Sometimes I notice when they move because my other portfolio that I rarely check just goes up in value. I'm like, oh, what moved? So ONX got a nice little breakup. Remember, this is the one that Anchor did the airdrop for back around Christmas. And I was like, we're going to give, but it was a shitty airdrop like ratio. It was like every 10,000 Anchor, you got one ONX. So it wasn't tons. It barely moved Anchor's price. But What a dip. This was like load central, 23, 33 cents. Remember, we traded it off the stream. Like I bought some 123. Free position up where somewhere through here, and now it's just roll, baby. Kind of thought about adding through this. Did not until I saw it move, and I was like, oops, missed it. But I'm riding that position. I'm going to keep riding it. Track origin trail. Yeah, let's do that. That's actually on my short list here on Kucoin. Made it to the red list today. Let's find out why. Oh, yeah. So I actually had some old ink on this thing. This is old ink, guys. This is from like July. So let's see how it aged. It's kind of fun to see these old charts. I'll extend these a little bit. I was using really thick SR levels back then, Jan. I've evolved since. Yeah, this is in the way. In the way. It's kind of cool how these live through eternity, right? I mean, this thing just did the thing. Let's just break it down. Track just respecting all the TA. Big nasty thing. Bottom formation, breakout, retest. Cool. Bull market time. This is when I started looking at it. Pump chaser zone in July. It did not disappoint. Where do we take profit? I don't know. How about the short reload zone? Okay. 618 tag. Pretty cool. That's probably not where I would have necessarily rushed. You know, it's a great place to pay myself, but if it's in a bull trend, I might be waiting for a bull trend reversal, which would have been right here. Losing this SR level, breaking down, kind of a gap here, kind of weird for crypto, bit of a candle body gap, and then just navigating the SR levels, and here we are at resistance again. So pretty cool chart on track that I found from July. Yeah, like smacked into this resistance, growing volume, probably pretty strong. Can just remove some of that ink for a sec. Didn't get the full retest down here, so not very friendly to the setup that I've been looking for. Not that I was looking for it on this one, but it's always nice to see like, ooh, would this setup have worked here too? Would it have worked there too? And for this one, it would have got front run for now. This is versus Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin makes a big move up, especially, this thing will get its retest. 625. And then I guess the question is like, if it doesn't, or if it does, whatever, where's that chaos PRZs up around the next resistance? Looking like 1400. So if it's a dip buy and then chaos, that's a double. That's a trade for me. Get a free position in origin trail. One that I never looked at too closely, but kept hearing about through the last few years. People super bullish on it. I think it's a supply chain sector, which is a good one for blockchain. OMG. August, I think you were just saying, oh my God, with the Slipbot story, but we're going to go look at OMG because it is on my short list as well. Really started to move versus USD. Pretty sweet little retest kind of thing coming in on the weekend, right? Rejected, breakout on volume, retest last night. Pretty sweet. I expect this thing to go higher. I don't know that I can trade it on that chart from here. You guys know on Twitter, I did have a few trades in the lower levels there on our trading view ideas section. We had sort of an accumulation thesis here. But check this out. On the Bitcoin pair, I'm just going to get rid of this ink, get a fresh look. Check this out. I think there's something to be done here. You know, in this kind of, it's a little lower in the range on Bitcoin. How do you want to stretch it to make it fit? But, you know, rejected. Kind of broke through. Rejected. Broke through. Retest. Breakout. Retest. I mean, there's something to be said for this level here on OMG if we're looking at an uptrend. It's just starting if we're looking at a bigger one. You know, think about this. This is why I shortlisted it today because you know, low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower high. God, this, you know, it's just trending down hard since the Tether announcement back in August, saying Tether's going to run on the OMG rails, which is good. That's a good use case. For OMG, that's big. But since then, just downtrending. But what do we got here? Low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So the trend has reversed. higher highs, and it's just started, right? And as is the case, often the ends of moves are the most intense. So this is a very kind of slow, meandering start. Well, what comes next? Is that the top? Or is the next part of this, whatever it's going to be? Like, to me, this looks like the start of something bigger. So did I get my perfect entry? Did I get my little tight reload zone down here? No, I actually did trade it at one point, but it was like mid-January, and I don't have that position anymore. So today, right now, I have some Bitcoin. Can I switch it over to OMG with a reasonable expectation of having more Bitcoin sometime in the future based on just this one position? Yep, I think so. Let's look at dominance. Dominance trending down still. Slowing here a little bit, but clear downward trajectory. That's not changed. The Dixie, bearish, not great. Going to be good for most things versus USD. Dominance, most good for most things versus Bitcoin. And then, of course, ETH BTC is just looking fabulous right now. Big breakout on volume weekly. Nothing's really changed. It's just been a few weeks of consolidation, which is not that weird. In fact, I think I wrote something like that in our newsletter weeks ago, saying expect some consolidation here for a few weeks. Or don't be surprised if you get it. Don't think it's bearish to get that. This was a big 4 weeks coming out party. And the market's job here, I think, is to put you to sleep. This is such a massive signal, such a massive level, huge breakout. It would be very easy for all of us if it just went bing, 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 haha, everybody wins. It's usually not how it works. Cool it off, shake it out, deleverage people, make it boring, get everybody looking over at some of the other coins, that liquidity cycle shit, moving through the other stuff. When next leg? I think there will be one. And what's it going to do to the USDT pair? Ooh, 2,000 plus. Easy, in my opinion. Opinions. So can I get a setup here? Yep. Throwback, pump chaser zone. Should I be trading or sitting in more ETH here versus Bitcoin? Maybe taking some of that Bitcoin, just putting it into ETH? I think so, probably. I might have just talked myself into doing that with like half my Bitcoin over at Ethereum, because look at this. And not, it's obviously easier when this new candle's a little green. If this new candle was red, it doesn't change a damn thing, but doesn't it change your mentality a little bit? Am I the only one who the most recent candle color, especially when it's in doji formation, you're like, oh, it's so bearish. Oh, it's looking bullish. So just be careful falling into that trap. I've done it before. It's terrible on like the lower time frames too. Messiah's stream is different. Both are with Hxro Labs though. Hxro Labs fucks for real. That's right. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yes, I was referring to the bot stories. I thought they were only after very big transactions, but it seems they are hunting all of us. Yep. Nobody is safe. Syntropy, new internet. We love Hxro, best ones ever. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. So as Messiah gets ready to go live, or maybe he's already live, I don't know. But we have a little bit of overlap on Mondays inadvertently, sort of switching a few things around. So just a quick heads up. I'm going to actually have Messiah on this stream on Wednesday at 3 p.m. The two worlds collide. Hxro Labs super team. So we're going to be on here in the studio. We're going to get him in here. He hasn't been here since election day back in November. So he's coming back on Wednesday. We're going to talk shitcoins. We're going to talk charts. We're going to talk analytics, whatever really he wants. He can drive the conversation because he's the guest that day. And that'll be at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. On Friday, I'll be back on solo. And sometime this week, we're going to get a sneak peek from Options Rob, straight out of the pit. He'll be back on here a little later this week at some point. TRX, I think Jin might wrap us up for today. We're going to end on a high or a low. I don't know. What is a TRX? High or low? Let's go find out. So that's what we can look forward to this week. I'm super excited to have Daniel on here. Excuse me, Crypto Messiah. We're going to be hanging out, shooting the shit. We got a few of the same bags. He does really good research. So when I find TA that matches his research, I take it. I got a big fat bag of Rook. So can't wait to see what else is on his radar, or, see if we can find some synergies between our analysis. I know he strikes me as being in a lot more like, I'm set, I've got my things, and I'm just waiting, which is a really nice way to live. I'm always rotating. pretty heavily through some of these, sell having a double, pick a new one. Holy shit, TRX. Jin Kazama, thank you, sir. This one fits the bill. I love when this shit happens. Guys, look at this. Jin just hooked us up. Say what you will about Justin Sun. Say what you will about TRX. I don't care. I'm here to trade the chart. And also, if you want, just to remember that Justin Sun is known for being the king of the pump. I mean, he took this thing from 17 sats, which I passed on famously, because there was like 300 Bitcoin on the buy and the sell side. I thought this thing's never moving. And then it just went 2,000 sats. So whatever. I was busy trading other coins that day. But look, he knows how to move his coins. You think he's going to sit this bull market out? Nah, man. TRX is going to pump. Let's be honest. It's going to. It's going to get some look at some point. And this just, all that aside, this one looks great. Accumulation, rejected, breakout, volume, retest. Come on, guys. This is a rinse and repeat market. And this one is right in our wheelhouse. So I am going to be going to look at John. Put it on our list. Let's get TRX on the list. And then you got to think, what are some of the other ones? I mean, he names all the coins after himself. So he's got Just, which I actually did trade last week a little bit. Won't lie. But it was an easy sell. I bought 106 because I thought, well, this thing's going to rally. And then during my trim over the weekend, I was like, well, I'm getting the hell out of this one at like 107. So I won't say I traded very well, but sure enough, it has not recovered yet. I don't know what's going on with this coin. I just know that if TRX pumps. So let's think about that, okay? Let's make this a multi-leg trade, guys. So we wrap up the day with this fancy trade. If this thing goes, if this thing hits leaderboards, if TRX rips faces like it did back here, then it's an easy echo to things like Sun, which I'm pretty sure is one of his. Justin Sun. He's literally got things named after him. It's weird. But don't sleep on these two guys if TRX goes for it. It should be a pretty easy echo play. Hopefully they don't go all together at the same time. Like most things, I would expect, TRX to start the party. But what's really cool about this is like the probability of those other two going, if they already have a nice little setup, which they don't really right now, but they might soon. If this thing just rips, you can go look at those two. And like, if there's anything that resembles a setup, take it, in my opinion. Like I'll be taking it because that's just the way these markets work. What kind of thing looks just like the other? And then you go long that. So longing an entire ecosystem of a coin that's pumping, like Atom. Atom go crazy pump. I don't have to check, but I bet Iris go crazy pump too. Yep, it's been following. Really strong reaction. Iris is on the Atom network. There's a few others. So that kind of thing. So, love them or hate them. Let's keep an eye on Justin Sun's coins because TRX just looks like the setup that I want to see. Breakout, retest. Let's go. And it may not be like sell half on a double and I'll wait with a moon bag. I mean, maybe it's going to moon. I should. But for me, this one, I'm not a huge fan of the project for all kinds of reasons. So maybe I'm just being a pure through and through trader. Take my 77%, get the fuck out. Or take my fib extension. No, kind of aligns there. Weirdly. Take my fib extension and run. I don't know. We'll see how I'm going to play that. That's beyond the scope of this presentation, everyone. But this chart fits the bill for all this SR flip stuff we're looking at. Preston's Fish made a great tweet regarding that today. Crazy Rob spoke of the risk-free rate. Yeah. You don't chart TRX. Yeah, I know. So many opinions. BitTorrent, is that one of his? Or just one to look at? BitTorrent USD, because it's low sat. It's kind of tricky to trade. Oh my God. Yeah, BitTorrent's moving. But what about the weekly, they said? Well, I mean, I'll wait down here. If I can get filled here, I'll take it. If at all, That can happen. Those kinds of things do. Look at this. Candle body close. The weekly rejected at previous breakdown levels. Well, we'll see. So cool. I love TA like that. That's why I love TA. It just fits. It's just right, Brian. Feels right. So let's see how my dusty old scalp short works out here. I still think that there's going to be some shenanigans into the open tomorrow. And if that's going to be another puke, cool. I'm hedged partially. I will not be fully hedged. I will lose money if we puke. So don't get me wrong. I'm not cheering for it, but I'll be covered a little bit. And if we don't, and everything just happens the exact way people assume it will, which is like moon forever, I'm mostly long, and that'll be okay too. So taking a little out of Rob's book here, playing that sort of double-sided market, spot long, future short, cover my ass, wake up with P&Ls all over the place. I'm trying it out. Gotta stay level-headed. So that's sort of what's going on with me right now. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I think we'll flip back to the screens. And yeah, back here in the studio. Okay. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the show today. We got through a lot of requests. Lit, LTO, Reef, NFT, XID, DAG, HDR, OIN, Sushi, Hedgic, Soul. Oh, Soul. Can we go check Soul? 8 seconds. What's going on with Soul? We got a Phantasma. That's like the coin that'll pump because I missed it kind of thing. That's happened so many times on stream, and then I rewatch it and somebody mentioned it and it's up 6x. So let's take a look at Soul. I mean, it's in the zone that I like. Not, this, okay, nice volume, but lost the lows. So it's got to reset now. The volume is starting to pick up. That's a weekly. Holy shit. Let's get in there. Okay. Now we're cooking with grease. Sorry, I was on the weekly. I'm really looking at the daily here, guys. In general with these. So, okay. Yeah, holy shit. Look at Soul. Glad we checked. Another one I can add to the speculators list. We talked about this last week, guys. So good. And you look back at the start of all these mega pumps, and often it's as simple as a cute little quiet SR flip. Nobody's looking, no leaderboards, some nice volume coming in. We'll see how the daily closes here, 2.5 hours to see if this is buy or sell volume. But either way, this is what I'm looking for in the market right now. So whoever you are, bringing up Soul, thank you guys. And now let's for real go back to the studio. Soul is going on my list as well. Soul. Vet. Definitely want to get some vet. I think it's going to go. OMG maybe versus Bitcoin. Yeah, I've got a few ideas to chew on here today, guys. Hope you do as well. Whatever you do between now and then, always play from a position of strength. We'll see you with Messiah on Wednesday. Take care, guys.